A very good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Beetv News Updates at 3. I am Ruth Ogbodu and now the news in detail. The presidential initiative on unlocking the healthcare value chain in partnership with the National Malaria Elimination Program has reported significant progress in providing affordable malaria diagnostics and medicines. The program aimed to ensure that Nigerians have access to quality treatment and effective malaria care across the country. Under the leadership of the National Coordinator of PSC, Dr. Abdul Mukhtar, stated that malaria elimination remains a key priority of President Bola Tinubu's administration. Under the leadership of the Coordinating Minister of Health, Professor Mohammed Ali Pat, and the National Coordinator of the Malaria Elimination Program, Dr. Unena Chizaram Ogbulafo, collaboration with local manufacturers is a central strategy to ensure sustainable access to malaria treatment across Nigeria.
To push, and the key really is to not only have the high quality products available, but they should also be affordable. And I think this is a crux of this program, which is why it's called Affordable Drugs for Malaria Program. So this is the goal, ultimate goal, and government cannot do this alone. We need the private sector. We need advisory companies, we need the NMEP program, we need everybody working together.
I really don't want to jump the gun, but from the last malaria indicator survey, we're having very good results, but we're not yet there. But so far so good, and we're looking at very good strategies, very good projects that would really speak to all of the good work that we have done so far.
Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, has sworn in a new secretary to the state government and chief of staff in a move to strengthen its administration. The new appointees took the oath of office during a brief ceremony held at the government house in Port Harcourt. The report.
2 weeks after dissolving his cabinet, the governor of Rivers State has begun steps to reconstitute it. While no official reason was provided for the shake-up, observers suggest it may be linked to recent efforts to resolve the state's political crisis. As the new appointees assume office, they are tasked with consolidating peace and stability in Rivers State and supporting the governor's agenda for effective governance.
This appointment is not for any political empowerment. That you are appointed, you start raising or believing that you have a platform to abuse, insult, or create problem. It is an appointment to help this administration survive.
These appointees, alongside the incoming commissioners, will work under close scrutiny as the administration seeks to regain momentum in implementing its development blueprint for Rivers State.
It's really a surprise to me too, because just this morning people started calling me. So, but I believe God, that the God that has helped me to perform where He knew me from, will help me to not to fail Him and the state, because it's about God here. It's not just about human being. So God will help me.
I've been a lawyer for close to 32 years, and I think that I bring to board my experience dealing with human beings and dealing with institutions. And I know that every chief of staff brings in a new thing to make the office vibrant and to ensure that we portray what the governor is after. Our interest in this state is to ensure that we have peace, stability, and progress.
This marks Governor Fubara's third secretary to the state government and third chief of staff since assuming office nearly 3 years ago. Whether these latest appointments will bring the long-awaited stability needed for effective governance remains to be seen. Naomi Ewewe reporting from Beetv News.
Nigeria's export sector recorded measurable growth in the last quarter of 2025, according to official figures from the Lily Pond Customs Export Command. The data showed notable increase in both export value and container throughput, reflecting an upswing in the country's trade performance. The Customs Command has outlined strategies aimed at further boosting export value in 2026, focusing on enhancing efficiency, streamlining processes, and supporting exporters to expand Nigeria's footprint in global markets. The report.
At his maiden press briefing in Lagos, Lily Pond Export Command's Custom Area Controller, Sam Olaribiyi, highlighted the Command's export facilitation activities. He disclosed that export proceeds in the last quarter of 2025 rose by 9.56% compared to the same period in 2024. Container throughput also recorded a significant increase, with 10,756 containers processed, representing over 24% growth year-on-year. The figures underscore the Command's efforts to streamline export operations and support Nigeria's growing trade performance.
The Lily Pond Export Command processed a total export value of 858,109,319 United States dollars, 57 cents in the fourth quarter of 2025. And this represents 9.56% increase over what is obtainable in the fourth quarter of 2024, which was 783,221,101 United States dollars.
The controller also announced plans to deploy the Bodogu digital platform to further enhance export facilitation and improve the efficiency of Nigeria's trade processes.
For the very first time, we're able to apply Bodogu to generate exit and gate pass. It moved faster. And I've been working towards the final destination of anything we export in Nigeria. Not that something will leave Nigeria, go to Ghana. They will now rebag it as a made in Ghana. It's depreciating our naira. So I'm working towards even final destination in cooperation with the Controller General of Customs. So we'll continue to see some changes.
He urged stakeholders to remain compliant as the Nigerian Customs Service intensified efforts to boost the country's competitiveness in the global export market. Naomi Ewere reporting from Beetv News.
President Bola Tinubu has urged the National Assembly to amend the Constitution to pave way for the creation of state police as part of efforts to tackle insecurity across the country. Speaking during an interfaith breakfast with senators at the presidential villa, President Tinubu said the move has become necessary in Nigeria in response to evolving security challenges. He emphasized that a decentralized policing system would strengthen grassroots security, improve intelligence gathering, and enable states to respond more swiftly to threats within their jurisdictions. In his remarks, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, praised President Tinubu's leadership, noting that recent reforms have increased state revenues, boosted infrastructure development, and helped the country navigate a challenging period.
The terrorism and banditry is causing us the havoc, and we should pull together, unite in a way that our forefathers contemplated to bring about a constitutional democracy and pull us together. They didn't say we should fight.
We thank you also for the electoral amendment. It wasn't you, we did. You had the right to say no. But when we convince you that it is in the interest of the nation, you sign immediately the amendment into an act of parliament. And I can tell you that in the FCT election, the first test of the amended Electoral Act nationally was tested. We are aware of the troubles going on and sponsored insecurity in parts of the country. And that is why the prayers of both the Muslims and the Christians are very important. And I do know that God sees our heart, and the prayers will be very potent at a time like this.
Brigadier General Chukwu Emeka Mike Akaliro, commander of the 6th Brigade, has called for a strategic partnership with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Sabah State Command, to curb rising crime and social vice through effective drug control measures. He emphasized that dismantling the state's drug supply chain could significantly reduce crimes such as banditry and organized criminal activity. Brigadier General Akaliro highlighted the critical role of inter-agency collaboration in addressing security challenges, noting that NDLEA occupies a strategic position in disrupting illicit substance supply chains and tackling the consequences of drug abuse. The agency reaffirmed its commitment to supporting national efforts against drug production, trafficking, and abuse, stressing that effective drug control is a key tool in achieving sustainable peace and national security.
Occupies a strategic position in the security architecture, particularly in disrupting the supply chain of illicit substances and addressing the consequences that come with drug abuse, which my men will end up meeting in the field.
The NDLA remains resolute in its commitment to supporting the Nigerian Army in the fight against illicit drug production, trafficking, and abuse, which are critical drivers of crime, just like you said, banditry, terrorism, and other security threats. We firmly believe in NDLA that effective drug control is a strategic force multiplier in achieving sustainable peace and national security.
The presidency has strongly pushed back against criticisms from opposition parties over the recently amended Electoral Act 2026, accusing them of spreading misinformation and creating unnecessary alarm. The response comes after leaders of the ADC and NMP raised concerns about key provisions of the law, particularly regarding the electronic transmission of election results. In a statement from the State House, the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, described the opposition's claim as reckless and misleading. The Presidency emphasized that the new law strengthens the electoral process, maintaining real-time electronic transmission of results while using physical result sheets as a backup safeguard in case of network failures. The government of Cuba has said that the United States is prepared to cooperate in investigations following what authorities in Havana describe as armed infiltration attempts by Cuban nationals arriving by speedboats. The report.
According to Cuban officials, the incident involved heavily armed individuals who allegedly departed from U.S. territory and attempted to enter the island nation by sea. The group was reportedly intercepted by Cuban security forces before carrying out any planned operation. Authorities said weapons and equipment were seized, though they did not immediately disclose the full inventory. In an official statement, the Cuban government described the event as a terrorist act and said it had initiated a formal investigation into the origins, financing, and objectives of the operation. Officials in Havana stressed that preliminary findings indicate the suspects are Cuban nationals residing abroad. Cuba's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it had communicated with U.S. authorities regarding the matter. According to the statement, Washington expressed willingness to cooperate with Cuban investigators to clarify the circumstances surrounding the alleged plot and to prevent similar incidents in the future. The U.S. government has not publicly confirmed specific details of the cooperation, but has previously stated that it does not support violent actions against against Cuba and is committed to upholding laws that prohibit organizing armed expeditions from U.S. soil against foreign states. Relations between Havana and Washington have long been strained with decades of political and economic tensions. However, both countries have at times engaged in limited security coordination, particularly on issues related to migration, drug trafficking, and maritime safety. Cuban authorities said investigations are ongoing and that further information will be released as it becomes available. No casualties were reported in connection with the attempted infiltration. The development comes amid continued economic challenges in Cuba and heightened political sensitivities within the Cuban diaspora community, particularly in the United States. Officials in Havana reiterated their call for stricter enforcement of U.S. laws to prevent acts that could threaten Cuba's national security. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for BTV News.
And now to the entertainment news. Popular Nigeria influencer King Michi recently became emotional in a viral video expressing deep distress over the intense criticism she has faced amid her ongoing disputes with activist Very Dark Man. The Black Ash followed rising social media tensions between two personalities. The report.
The controversy began when King Michi publicly called out Very Dark Man for allegedly delaying the use of donated NGO funds. She referenced her own achievements of renovating a school within 6 days as an example of swift action, urging him to put the funds to work. Her remarks, however, sparked heavy criticism from many Nigerians online. In the emotional video, King Michi said she often prioritizes helping others, even at personal expense, and feels unfairly judged for her comments. She expressed disappointment over the harsh reactions, maintaining that her intentions were to encourage accountability rather than create conflict. In another development, Eniola Badmus has responded after a social media user accused her of acting as a private pimp for prominent politicians and movie executives. The allegations surfaced on X, formerly Twitter, and quickly gained attention online. The post claimed that the actress allegedly connects young women to powerful politicians and suggested that she gained political access through such arrangements. The accusation sparked widespread reactions across social media. In response, Eniola Badmus firmly denied the claims, describing them as false and defamatory. She warned that she would not take the matter lightly and stated that the appropriate authorities would address this situation. Albert Hall, Manchester resounded with football-style chants as fans cheered for Olivia Dean during her recent performance. Although visibly embarrassed by the prolonged applause, the singer jokingly urged the crowd to settle down, saying that they could be there all night if it continued. Dean's Manchester show comes amid a breakthrough year for the artist, driven by her second album, The Art of Loving. The project, praised for its blend of soulful vocals and contemporary pop, has drawn comparison to Sade, Amy Winehouse, and Lauryn Hills. She's also nominated in 5 major categories at the upcoming Brit Awards, including Artist and Album of the Year. The concert marked Dean's return to the UK stage following a US tour with Sabrina Carpenter. Fans, many of whom had not previously heard the new material performed live, were met with a polished and confident set, underscoring her growing reputation as one of Britain's most promising musical talents. And that's it on the entertainment news. Evelyn Isabella reporting for BTV News.
And now to sports. Arsenal are leading the race for 18-year-old Atlanta defender Honest Anaho, with the Gunners considering a £30 million bid ahead of the summer transfer window. The centre-back has attracted interest from several top clubs, including Manchester City, Chelsea, Manchester United, Tottenham, Newcastle, and Atletico Madrid, all vying for one of Europe's most promising teenage defenders. Arsenal see Anaho as a high-potential investment, with the hope it can develop through the established youth pathways similar to players like Miles Lewis Kelly and Ethan Nwaneri. Manchester City are also focused on a long-term approach, while Chelsea are exploring a deal that would involve loaning him back to Atlanta to continue its development. Atletico Madrid have emerged as serious contenders, with coach Diego Simeone reportedly impressed by Anahol's anticipation, strength in duels and potential to anchor their defense for years to come. Anahol was featured in 24 matches across all competitions for Atlanta this season, including UEFA Champions League appearances. Is seen as an exceptional talent with composure, athleticism, and tactical intelligence. Atlanta are believed to regard him as nearly untouchable despite the growing interest. His contract includes a release clause of £50 million to £65 million, and with the player now eligible to represent Italy at the senior level, is expected to switch allegiance from Nigeria to Italy. And that's the end of our news update. Thank you.